Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order, as best I know how. Folks, it's time to stick with the books here, and we're going to talk about Jedi Quest by Jude Watson. Now this is about Obi-Wan and Anakin on search for the pirate Crane, and then what they want to do is they want to stop him and free his slaves. Now of course this is a very personal issue for Anakin because he was a slave, so is he going to let those personal issues affect his mission as a Jedi? I'll have to let you read and decide. So let's talk about this book. What did I think about this book? Well, of course you have Jude Watson, so automatically I'm going to say I love it, right? But I do, and here's for the reason why. This book was very unique because it came out right before Episode 2. So to this point, we hadn't seen Anakin that much. We've seen little Annie, but we hadn't seen, Anakin growing up, and that's what this book was showing us, was that transition from the Jake Lloyd Anakin of Episode 1 to the Hayden Christensen Anakin of Episode 2, what we were about to see. And I think it did that really well. Anakin, of course, gets his own lightsaber in this one. He builds it and everything. I think that's how the book starts off. So the story really moves along, and it came out in hardback, which is kind of wild when you think about it, right? So like a children's book, usually you just have paperbacks, and that was good enough. But this one came out in a hardback. I was even impressed when I first got it. I was like, whoa, what is this? It was only later when I was reading the Star Wars Essential Reader's Companion by Pablo Delgado that I discovered that Jedi Quest was supposed to be something much more bigger than what it actually ended up being. Meaning, folks, this was supposed to be another Shadows of the Empire, where they're going to hit you with comic books, with RPGs, with video games, a toy line, an audio drama, and more. I mean, Dark Horse did come out with a 4-issue series, a comic book version of this book. Now, I only got the first comic book before I realized, oh wait, this is the comic book version of the book. And I usually don't collect those, so I only have the first issue. I never read the other one. So as the comic book goes, it's the same story, just illustrated in comics. So I'm not going to really talk about that since I read the book. And the book's going to have more in it because comics, of course, don't have all that dialogue and description. But I find it interesting that they were thinking about making this to an ongoing comic or turning it to an audio drama. What would that have been like? Like there was even notes. Pablo Delgado says that they were going to be working with Wizards of the Coast to establish an RPG game around Jedi Quest. What would it be about? I don't know. It's so weird. I wish we would have known more. I mean, obviously the deal didn't go through, right? Because that's all we got was that one book in the upcoming series that I'll talk about later. But even in the toy line, we find out that some of the toys that were going to be made was like a full-body tattooed Darth Maul and a Jedi pilot Obi-Wan, or a cold weather gear Anakin, and a Wookiee pirate. Now, by the way, all these are stock photos I'm showing you of other action figures. These aren't the actual prototypes for Jedi Quest. Some of you know that, some of you may not, but I'm just showing you some stock photos, just other action figures to prove my point. Another action figure they were thinking about making was a prototype battle droid specific for Jedi Quest. Yeah, that's what I get for letting Yubnub pick out all the stock photos. Also in there, they were going to do the pirate Crane, and we were going to have his own action figure as well. We couldn't resist. All right, so they also were thinking about making 2 other vehicles. Nothing more was said about that. But can you imagine what this would have been like? Now, on its own, it was a hit. Jedi Quest, the series was. So they didn't need all that, big parade of all these different things, like this multimedia tie-in like they had with Shadows of the Empire. But it's too bad because you can only imagine what if, right? What if Jedi Quest would have been this big Shadows of the Empire thing with its own toy line and comic books and video games and audio dramas, and whoa, that would have been incredible to see. However, what we got was pretty good, and I'll talk about that next week with another video.